He was the kid who was too quiet, the boy who read encyclopedias for fun, and the outcast who was beaten so severely by bullies that he landed in a hospital. Today, he is the man who plans to die on Mars, just not on impact. He is the wealthiest person on the planet, a chaotic architect of global industries, and a man who treats the laws of physics as mere suggestions. This is not just the story of a billionaire. It is the story of a man possessed by the singular, terrifying, and awe-inspiring vision of saving the human race from its own limitations. Part 1. The Pretoria Crucible. Born in 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa, Elon Musk's early life was marked by the friction of a brilliant mind trapped in an environment that didn't quite know what to do with him. His father, Errol, was an engineer, his mother, May, a model and dietitian. But it was the silence of his own mind that shaped him. While other boys played rugby, Elon was building video games. At 12, he wrote the code for Blaster and sold it for $500. He wasn't just playing in the digital sandbox. He was beginning to build it. Part 2. The Silicon Valley Gold Rush. The transition to North America was fueled by an immigrant's hunger. After a stint at Queen's University in Canada, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania, then eventually dropped out of a Stanford PhD program just 2 days into the journey. Silicon Valley was calling. Musk's rise was not linear, it was a series of explosive bets. He co-founded Zip2, which he sold to Compaq for over $300 million. He took that capital and bet it all on a radical concept, the Internet Bank. That became PayPal. When eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion, most people would have retired to a private island. Musk, however, saw the horizon and decided that the Internet was not enough. He wanted to change the fabric of human existence. Part 3. The Holy Trinity of Disruption. Musk's career is defined by 3 pillars that defy conventional business logic. SpaceX. When he tried to buy Russian rockets, they laughed at him. He decided to build his own. On the brink of bankruptcy in 2008, his rockets failed launch after launch. With his last pennies, the 4th launch succeeded. Today, SpaceX is the sole reason America regained its orbital dominance. Tesla. He didn't just build an electric car, he dismantled the century-old myth that EVs were slow, ugly, and impractical. He turned the car into a software product, proving that sustainable energy could be sexy and fast. The Neurofrontier. With Neuralink and XAI, Musk is no longer satisfied with changing how we move or where we live, he wants to change how we think. Part 4. The Man Behind the Machine. To the public, he is the Techno King. To his engineers, he is a demanding, obsessive taskmaster who sleeps on factory floors. He is a man of extreme paradoxes. A champion of free speech who buys social media platforms, a lover of sci-fi who is turning fiction into reality, and a man who thrives on the edge of catastrophe. The story of Elon Musk is not just about the money. It is a modern American epic. It is about the audacity to look at the stars and believe, truly and deeply, that they are our next home. He represents the final frontier of the American dream. The dream that one individual can, through sheer force of will, steer the trajectory of the entire species. If you want to understand Elon Musk, you don't look at his current net worth. You look at the year 2008. By the summer of that year, Musk was facing a perfect storm of misery. Tesla was bleeding cash, struggling to get the Roadster to production. SpaceX had suffered 3 consecutive failed launches. The global financial crisis had turned the world's credit markets into a ghost town. Musk was liquidating his personal wealth to keep the lights on. He was going through a painful divorce, and the media was calling him a failed entrepreneur. He remembers this period not as a business hurdle, but as a fight for survival. He was literally choosing which company to save. He had enough money to keep one company alive, but not both. Choosing between his children, essentially. He split the remaining funds between the two, hoping for a miracle. That miracle came in September 2008, when the 4th launch of the Falcon 1 rocket finally reached orbit. If it had failed, we might not be talking about Elon Musk today. That moment of success wasn't just a win, it was the birth of a man who decided that failure was not an option, but a tax you pay for greatness. Most people think Tesla became a success because of marketing. It wasn't. It was because of the brutal, relentless pursuit of manufacturing perfection. When Tesla launched the Model 3, Musk entered what he called production hell. He stopped going home. He lived in the Fremont factory, sleeping under a desk or on the floor. He wanted to understand why the robots weren't working. He wanted to feel the rhythm of the assembly line. Critics mocked him. Wall Street short sellers bet billions that the company would collapse. They called him a charlatan. But Musk wasn't playing their game. He was playing a game of physics and scale. He forced the company to iterate on the fly, making hundreds of changes to the car even as it was being built. When the Model 3 finally hit the streets, it wasn't just a car. It was a wake-up call to the global auto industry. Suddenly, Ford, GM, and Toyota were playing catch-up to a tech company based in California. Part 7. The Mars Obsession. Why Mars? Why not fix Earth first? Musk's answer is characteristically blunt. I want to be able to wake up in the morning and look forward to the future. He views the long-term survival of human consciousness as the ultimate project. To him, Earth is a fragile cradle, and it's only a matter of time before a cataclysm. Whether it's an asteroid, a nuclear war, or a climate collapse, threatens to extinguish us. He isn't trying to escape Earth. He is trying to create a backup for humanity. This is why he obsessively designs the Starship. It's not just a rocket, it's a colonization machine. It's the largest flying object ever built, designed to be fully reusable, like an airplane. It is the vessel he believes will turn humans into a multiplanetary species. To the average person, it sounds like madness. To Musk, it is the only logical conclusion to a story that began in the caves of Africa thousands of years ago. Part 8. The Maestro of Chaos. Today, Musk's life is a whirlwind of controversy and innovation. Whether he is acquiring X, formerly Twitter, to challenge the narrative of modern media, or pushing the boundaries of AI through XAI, he remains the most disruptive force in the world. Some love him for his unfiltered voice. Others fear his concentrated power. But regardless of your opinion, you cannot ignore him. He has forced the world to look up, to dream bigger, and to question the impossible. He is a man who lives in the future, often arriving there before the rest of us are ready to follow. And if there is one thing we have learned from his odyssey, it's this: never bet against a man who is willing to burn everything down to build the bridge to the next century. If Tesla and SpaceX were about expanding our physical reach, Neuralink is about expanding our biological limits. Musk believes that humans are currently boot-limited. Our ability to communicate our thoughts is throttled by our slow output, typing, speaking, gesturing. He views the evolution of artificial intelligence as a potential threat, not necessarily a killer robot scenario, but one where humanity becomes obsolete, like a house cat to a human. His solution? If you can't beat them, merge with them. Neuralink's mission to connect the human brain directly to computers is the final frontier of human technology. It's a vision that blends science fiction with neurosurgery. While critics point to the massive ethical minefields, privacy of thoughts, the risk of hacking a human brain, Musk sees only the potential, restoring mobility to the paralyzed, sight to the blind, and perhaps a way for humanity to keep pace with the accelerating intelligence of our own creations. Part 10. The Architect of the Digital Agora, the X Saga. When Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion, the world watched in confusion. Was it a whim? A mistake? A calculated power move? To understand it, you have to look at Musk's view of truth. He saw the platform as the digital town square of the world. He believed that the discourse had become captured by algorithms that favored outrage and conformity over open inquiry. His takeover was explosive, firing thousands of employees, ripping up the legacy code, and demanding hardcore engineering from the remaining team. It was chaotic, messy, and loud. Critics accused him of destroying a vital institution. But for Musk, it was about stripping away the layers of institutional bureaucracy that he felt were stifling free expression. He wants to turn X into the Everything app, a place where you bank, shop, watch, and speak. It is perhaps his most controversial venture yet, proving that his appetite for disruption isn't limited to physical machines. He is willing to disrupt the way we perceive reality itself. Part 11. The Philosophy of First Principles. How does one man manage 5 companies, navigate global politics, and still find time to tweet? The secret lies in his mental framework, first principles thinking. Most people reason by analogy. They look at what others are doing and make slight improvements. Musk looks at the world like a physicist. He breaks every problem down to its fundamental truths, the basic laws of chemistry, physics, and economics, and then builds from there. Analogy. Batteries are expensive because they've always been expensive. First principles. What is a battery made of? Cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon. What are the market prices of these metals? If I buy them on the London Metal Exchange and combine them myself, why is the final cost so high? Because of middlemen and inefficient manufacturing. This logic allowed him to build SpaceX and Tesla when the experts said he was delusional. It is a philosophy of brutal honesty, stripped of ego and tradition. Part 12. The Final Frontier. Looking at the horizon. As we look at the legacy of Elon Musk, we aren't just looking at a list of inventions. We are looking at a fundamental shift in the human mindset. He has dragged the world into the future, kicking and screaming at times. He has forced us to confront the fact that our current way of living, reliant on fossil fuels, earthbound, and limited by biological decay, might not be the end of the road. Whether you see him as a messiah or a merchant of chaos, one thing is undeniable. The history of the 21st century will be written in the shadow of his ambitions. He is the man who taught us that the only thing holding us back from the stars is our own lack of imagination. And for Elon Musk, the story is far from over. He is still working. He is still building. And somewhere, in the dark corners of a factory or the quiet glow of a computer screen, he is likely dreaming of something that will make his current achievements look like mere appetizers. The odyssey of the boy who read encyclopedias has become the odyssey of a species. And we are all just along for the ride. Part 13. The Silent Hours at Starbase. Imagine standing on the desolate, windswept coast of Boca Chica, Texas. It is 3 a.m. The air smells of salt and industrial exhaust. While the rest of the world sleeps, a massive stainless steel structure, the Starship, towers over the darkness like a gleaming monument to human audacity. This is Starbase. Elon Musk is here, not in a glass-walled office, but on the concrete floor of the assembly tent. He is talking to a young engineer about the thermal tiles on the ship's belly. He isn't barking orders, he is asking questions, relentlessly. Why is it this heavy? What if we use this material instead? Why can't we weld it faster? This is the Muskian way. He believes that the physical design of a machine is the physical manifestation of the organization's communication structure. If the process is broken, the product will be broken. He lives in a state of perpetual impatience, driven by an internal clock that seems to tick faster than anyone else's. To him, every second wasted is a second stolen from the future of humanity. Part 14. The Loneliness of the Visionary. It is easy to focus on the rockets and the cars, but what about the man? Being Elon Musk is, by all accounts, a profoundly isolating experience. To carry the weight of a multiplanetary vision requires a detachment from the mundane concerns of everyday life that most people find impossible to comprehend. He has spoken of the demon mode, the state of hyperfocus that allows him to achieve the impossible but consumes his personal life, his relationships, and his peace of mind. He is a man who thrives on extreme stress. When things are going well, he gets bored. When things are falling apart, When the rockets explode, when the stock drops, when the media turns against him, that is when he is most alive. It is a psychological survival mechanism. He views life not as a pursuit of happiness, but as a pursuit of purpose. Part 15. The Stargate Vision. If you look at everything he is doing, Tesla, energy, SpaceX, transport, Neuralink, integration, XAI, intelligence, and Starlink, connectivity, they are not separate companies. They are the components of a single, grand master plan. Think of it as a Stargate. Energy. We need sustainable power to run our civilization. Tesla. Connectivity. We need to link every human to the collective knowledge of the species. Starlink. Intelligence. We need to augment our biological limits to manage the complexity of this new world. Neuralink/XAI. Transport. We need to move off-world to ensure the continuity of that intelligence. SpaceX. He is building the infrastructure for a future that doesn't exist yet, but one that he is convinced is inevitable. To the critics who call him an egomaniac, his supporters argue that he is merely a man who has calculated the odds of our extinction and decided that he is the only one who can do something about it. Part 16. The Legacy of the Impossible. When the history of the 21st century is written, the central question will be, was he a savior or a symptom? Did Elon Musk create the future, or did he simply accelerate a transition that was already happening? Maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is that he made the future feel like a choice rather than a destiny. He took the word, impossible, and systematically dismantled it, piece by piece, test flight by test flight, battery cell by battery cell. He proved that even in an age of cynicism, one person with enough willpower, and enough engineering grit, can literally reach for the stars. The story of Elon Musk is, at its heart, a love letter to the human spirit. It is a reminder that we are at our best when we are uncomfortable, when we are reaching for something just out of our grasp, and when we refuse to accept the world as it is, opting instead to dream of the world as it could be. What is the ultimate lesson of the Elon Musk story? Is it about wealth? Is it about being the smartest person in the room? No. The true lesson of his life is about the courage to exist in a state of permanent dissatisfaction. Musk's life is a masterclass in the art of questioning the status quo. He often says, "You should take the approach that you're wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong." This is the fundamental engine of his success. In a world that prizes comfort, safety, and certainty, he chooses the friction of the unknown. To the young dreamers, the engineers in their garages, and the visionaries who are told their ideas are too big or too crazy, Musk's life stands as a testament. He proves that the boundaries of our reality are not fixed. They are flexible. They are waiting for someone with enough audacity to push against them until they break. The final reflection. As we look at the trajectory of the human race, we see a path illuminated by the fires of innovation. From the first spark of fire to the landing of the first rocket on Mars, human progress has always been driven by the insane ones. Elon Musk is not a superhero. He is a man with flaws, sharp edges, and a chaotic, restless energy. But he is a man who decided that he would rather fail in the attempt to reach the stars than live a life of quiet resignation on Earth. He has built the rockets that will take us to new worlds, the cars that will change how we power our cities, and the digital bridges that will link our minds. He has provided the tools. The rest is up to us. The torch is yours. The story of the boy from Pretoria is not just a biography, it is an invitation. When you look up at the night sky, do you see a vast, empty void? Or do you see a destination? Elon Musk has spent his life trying to teach us that the void is merely a frontier. He will not be the one to solve every problem. He will not be the one to write the final chapter of human history. That role belongs to the Jenner.